Every language relies on predictable patterns and rules, but the most frequently used words often ignore those rules to carve their own paths. In Gaelic, these are the irregular verbs. In the next few minutes, we will cover the 8 most essential irregular verbs in Gaelic. By the end, you will have the specific vocabulary needed to build accurate past tense sentences. To apply these steps, you only need to know basic pronouns like me, thu, and a, along with the past tense of the verb to be, specifically the word ba. Because these specific verbs appear constantly in speech and stories, they bridge the gap between textbook exercises and everyday interaction. To use these words, we first need to understand how they differ from regular verbs. With a regular verb, you can accurately predict the past tense just by looking at the root word. For regular verbs, the standard rule is to simply lenitate the root. The verb bris, meaning break, becomes bris. Cluich, meaning play, becomes cluich. However, if you attempt to apply this standard lenition rule to an irregular root, you will output a completely incorrect word. Much like English, where the past tense of see becomes saw, the outcome cannot be predicted. You have to memorize these irregular forms as entirely unique pairings. This diagram shows the major shortcut of the Gaelic past tense. The verb form does not conjugate. It never changes spelling or pronunciation based on the speaker. Once you know the past tense form, you apply it identically to every single pronoun. Caith me for I went, caith thu for you went, caith a for he went. The verb is identical every time. You spend a little extra time up front memorizing the unique word, but you are instantly paid back with structural simplicity across all of your subjects. The most effective way to learn these verbs is to group them into a 3-part family. Connecting the root, the verbal noun, and the past tense ensures you recognize the word no matter the context. This typographic layout tracks the verb for go. We start with the dictionary root, rach, move to the verbal noun, adal, and resolve into the past tense, kai. For the verb here, the root cluin and the verbal noun, a cluintin, pair with the past tense, kula. The sequence for come moves from the root thig to the verbal noun, a tigging, to the past tense, panig. To express see, the root fike and the verbal noun, a fiking, lead to the past tense, kunek. The family for do or make consists of the root dan, the verbal noun, a dayanum, and the past tense, rin. For the verb say, we map the root a buyer and the verbal noun, a grach, to the past tense, thuirt. The sequence for get or find connects the root feig and the verbal noun, a fiking, to the past tense, thuirt. Finally, the family for give or take begins with the root thor, uses the verbal noun, a tort, and finishes with the past tense, thug. Knowing these 8 past tense forms allows you to describe the most common actions found in Gaelic narrative. Now that we have the vocabulary, we need to translate it correctly. 3 of these verbs actually shift their English meaning depending on the object of the sentence. This logic tree shows how rin branches into 2 meanings. If the object is an abstract task, it translates as did. Rin mi muaber, I did my work. If the object is a physical creation, it translates as made. Rin e cake, she made a cake. The logic updates for foir. If the object is given to the subject, it means received. For me litter. If the object is discovered by the subject, it means found. For ena hayukriken, he found the keys. Finally, thug changes based on physical directionality. It means gave in thuge leberdom. It translates to took in tuchi an ku letha, and it means brought in tuchi ad biad dantai. Here is the structural formula you need to put this into practice. Every sentence starts with the red past tense verb, followed by the pronoun, and ends with the context or object. Let's map a basic travel sentence into the formula. We use the past tense for go, kaid. We add the pronoun me, and the destination, Don Booth. Kaid me Don Booth. I went to the shop. We follow the exact same steps for an observation. The verb for saw, kunik. The pronoun sin. The object, een an sagareth. Kunik sin een an sagareth. We saw a bird in the garden. With this fixed architectural formula and your core 8 verbs, you can construct an endless variety of past tense statements with 0 conjugation required. You now have the capability to describe travel, observations, and tasks using 8 of the most common verbs in the Gaelic language. Because these verbs ignore pronoun conjugation, you can easily swap subjects. If you know how to say I went, you automatically know how to say we went or they went. In upcoming tutorials, we will build directly on this foundation by introducing negative particles and question forms to test these boundaries further. Right now, test the formula yourself. Pick one of the core 8 verbs and construct a short, simple sentence about something you did yesterday. Mastering these common exceptions allows you to communicate effectively while bypassing the complexities of standard conjugation.